Welcome to the Six Figure Business Mastery Podcast, where every week, Kirsten and Jeanne dive into the essential topics to fuel your business growth. From copywriting to course creation, mindset to video marketing, they've got you covered. Tune in for expert guest interviews on all things marketing and business, and learn how to work on your business, not just in it. So, get ready to unlock your business potential and take it to the next level.
Welcome, everyone, to our newest episode. I am absolutely thrilled to have a special guest here today. His name is Tom Schwab. He's with Interview Valet. So we're going to talk all about the future of search and brands and AI. So I'm thrilled to have you here. Thank you for coming, Tom.
Well, Jeanne, I'm thrilled to be here and excited for the discussion.
Wonderful. Well, first thing I want to ask you is tell us a little bit about your business and what you do and how you got here.
So my point of view is that obscurity is our biggest problem, right? There's people today that would love to buy your product, your service, right? You are the answer to their prayer. The only problem is they don't know you exist, right? We don't buy the best, we buy the best we know of. And Interview Valet for the last decade has been helping thought leaders, brands get out of that being the best kept secret by being on targeted podcast interviews that their ideal customers are already listening to, right? This idea of breaking through the noise, I think is laughable, right? I'd much rather get in on the conversation that our ideal clients are already listening to, get that know and trust. And today that is so easy and so possible with podcast interview marketing.
I love that. I love podcasts. And I love the fact that they're video now as well.
We do a report every February. It's called the State of Podcast Guesting. And today, 96% of podcasts capture the video, right? Up from 20% pre-COVID.
Wow, that's fantastic. And Spotify will actually put your video up as well.
And it's YouTube has even become a great search platform for podcasts. It's amazing. It allows us to create in the way we want and for other people to consume in the way they want, right? So some people listen, some people watch the video. All the podcasts are transcribed too. So there are even people that are vision or hearing impaired that will be able to read what we're talking about right now.
Yeah, I'm so excited. I love that podcasting is growing and growing. So today we're going to talk a little bit about the future of search and your brand and how AI is changing that and transforming that. Do you want to speak to that a little bit?
Oh, it used to be keywords. And I still cringe every time I hear somebody say, well, what keyword should I use? And it's like, that is so Y2K, right? The idea that search engines are only smart enough to go off a keyword, or if I say the keyword enough times, I'll instantly get found. No, today they're listening to everything. We were keywords, then we got to long-term keywords, and now we're going to context-driven results, right? So you think about with SEO, when you're putting something in a search, you put the first word in and they're putting suggestions for all the rest of that. They know where you're going with that. And today, the idea is that they're not just looking for keywords, they're listening and searching for everything. And if you don't believe that, just talk about something weird in your home, right? And the next thing, you've got ads for that showing up in your feed, right? It's a little bit spooky, but it's that same way. Search engines today and AI is listening to long form collaborative content. So right here, they are listening to everything we're talking about. They're looking at the video, right? So they're doing facial recognition on you, facial recognition on me, and say, that's really Tom. That's not an AI generated. And they're saying the authority of one person goes to the authority of the other person. So it's this whole context. And if you don't believe this, just go on social media, right? If you put a picture up with two people, it will get more engagement than one person, right? And if the picture is bad or photoshopped, they're able to tell that also. And it's like, well, it was a good Photoshop. Well, no, they see the date timestamp and everything on the pictures, and they realize that Jeanne and Tom are not in front of the Eiffel Tower, right? So there's those things, and people can pick up on it, but the search engines and AI is also. And I think it's important because for years we were always trying to say, well, how can we get to the top of the organic search, right? How can I get to the top page of Google? Well, the thing is that even if you're on the top page of Google right now, you're on the bottom of the page, right? Because they're showing the AI first, then the paid ads, and then congratulations, you just got to the bottom of the page, right? So it's not so much trying to trick the search engines. No, it's more how can I come up with great content and context so that people will find me. And I really believe that things like ChatGPT, Perplexity, those are going to be our best referral sources going forward.
Yeah, you do think about it because now everything is chat first, isn't it, on the search engines? And then, like you said, and then the ads. And then typically, sometimes if they have it, it will be videos after that, which get prioritized over just blogs and wording as well.
It's interesting. Will we continue to use the word Google as a verb, right? Just Google it, right? Google used to be the vast majority of search. And they did a study, it was reported in January 2025 was the last one that I saw, that AI has taken over 10% of search. And that's gone quick, right? So the idea is people are going to ChatGPT, Perplexity, whatever it is, and they're asking their questions, and it's more deep questions. It's more meaningful question. And as far as finding businesses, finding services, those are important questions, and people are taking those to AI. So I think in the future, it's going to be, well, I Googled this, and this is what ChatGPT told me. I don't care how they find out about me, just so long as they find out about me.
I love that. Yeah. So interesting, isn't it? I was watching a webinar the other day, and she actually has a Chrome extension that pulls chat up. So she's actually searching in chat instead of searching in something like Google.
I think for us, we've spent the last, 25 years Googling. I think the younger generation is going to not know what Google is. I'm almost going to be like the yellow pages today. And so the other day he asked a question and I said, well, why don't you find out the answer? He grabbed my phone and he went to ChatGPT. He asked it the question. It was what a monk, right? It gave him the answer. And then he started to ask follow-on questions with it. And I'm like, it was no more of clicking through to see a website, all the rest of that. He was having a conversation. And I think conversations are so powerful, right? I often say we're not all one funnel away, we're one conversation away. And I think that conversation is going to be with AI a lot of times.
Ooh, I love that. Yeah, a friend of mine, it was so funny. She thinks chat's her best friend. She's like, I was trying to like brainstorm and, I didn't really have anyone in the vicinity who really wanted to talk to me about my topic was. So she said, I had this long conversation with chat. She said it was like, well, what do you think about this? Well, I like those ideas, but what about that? And she said, I came out so excited about what I had decided on just by having a conversation with chat.
That's interesting. And I think of all of us, we talk about what's the best lead source you have? Oh, a personal referral, right? If a trusted friend tells them about our business, right? That's a good lead. And your friend already sees ChatGPT as this trusted friend, right? So if they're going there, having this discussion, and they say, here is a business you should look at, that's almost like a personal referral.
Love that. And now I don't know if you've used it. This just came up recently. There's another button in chat that says deep research, which is apparently, deeper into, width of its reach to, more information. It's just fascinating.
It is. And if you go to the lower left-hand corner in November of 2024, it started to show sources, right? Before it was like we're guessing, where's it getting this information? And now click on sources and it will tell you where it's pulling from. So if you want to get found on AI or any of the other ones, just look where they're pulling from. It's typically Wikipedia, right? It's your own website. If you've got a book, it pulls from Amazon. Then after that, It's all long form collaborative content because it realizes that is real content. It's not a rehash of a rehash, right? If somebody is listening to this, they realize, okay, and Jeanne are having a conversation, right? Okay, I'll say for myself, I am not always talking in perfect sentences. Sometimes we'll talk over each other, right? This is real. This is authentic. So people realize that, but search recognizes that too. It's no question. Is AI, did ChatGPT make this? No, this is the authentic Tom and Jeanne.
Yeah, I love that. So obviously you are a big advocate of podcasts. You also see the a value in, types of content like lives maybe.
Well, I think the word podcast today, it is a podcast anymore, right? If it's on YouTube, is it still a podcast? If it's LinkedIn Live that they're going to repurpose into a podcast, I really think it's more of long form collaborative content, right?
Love that.
Because long form meaning let's have a in-depth discussion here, and collaborative meaning it's not just me looking at the camera giving a keynote, right? Because it's almost like no one cares about what I think. What do the other people think? And so the more people or the more input you can have there, the more authority it has. I heard somebody refer to it as the more eyeballs on the video, the more it converts. And they said, try it out on a picture, right? If there's two people, it will always work better, right? If there's a video or a clip, right? We'll want to put both of us in the clip because it adds that authority. It's just Tom in his basement about something. So I think that still wonder if 10 years from now, somebody's going to hear the word podcast, laugh, right? Because radio, when it started out, was called wireless telegraph. And then a decade later, it became podcast, right? And when podcast started, it was you downloaded it to your iPod, right? And I'd say most people today don't know what an iPod is, but we still call it podcast. So it's like, I'm a big fan of anywhere that it becomes easy for us to create, then easy for us to repurpose it. So for me, I've written a lot of blogs in my life. Every one of them felt like a homework assignment, but having conversations is easy. And then we can repurpose that into video, into audio, into blogs, into social media. So I think there's a lot of great tools out there that let us create in the way that we want and then repurpose in ways that our clients want.
That's brilliant. Actually, my partner said, I've never felt like I wanted to be younger. She said, until AI came out, because I want to see where it goes. I want to see what happens and how it evolves because there's so much happening.
We live in the age of miracles, right? There is a lot of problems in the world, but there is no better time to be alive. There's no better time to be a business owner, right? I live in Kalamazoo. Well, I live in a suburb of Kalamazoo, Michigan, right? Back in the old days, if I was going to run an agency like Interview Valet, I'd have to live in New York City or Chicago. Instead, we've been doing it for 10 years. All our team is remote. We've been remote since the very beginning there. And there is no other time in history that had been possible. And it's only getting better and better.
Not only can you have a remote team, but like you said, work from anywhere, and you have so much access to information and people, via AI, social media, YouTube, all of that. It's amazing because I think back when I started in marketing and it was like, what is the best way to get the word out? And a lot of times it was expensive. It was direct mail, or it was very few things that you could do even when online first came out, because they didn't have placement for ads, and then eventually they did, but it was still expensive. So it's fantastic.
Yeah, I of my God rest his soul, right? He taught me so much about business, and he wouldn't understand any of the tools we're using today, but he would understand the strategy because he understood that, wanted to get in front of his ideal customers. He had to go to the country club and talk there. He'd have to go to the Rotary Club and talk there, right? And if you told him now that, no, your clients don't have to be within driving distance anymore. And you don't have to do these things. You just have to get on a podcast or on a webinar and speak. He would understand how to leverage that. And he would be just, this is the best time in the world, right? And it is.
Yeah, no, totally agree. So let's talk a little bit about how people build their authority and outrank the algorithms and further their expertise.
Yeah, this idea of how can I beat the algorithm? Like SEO, for 20 years, we've been doing this, right? Well, how's the algorithm work? And there's somebody on the inside that leak it. And okay, here's the newest hack, the tip. Some of them was black hat, right? That got punished for. Some of them were white hat. I think AI now has gotten to be so smart that we're looking at this machine and trying to figure it out. And what it is that we can't trick it, right? With SEO, you could always trick it, was. Now, I love it because with AI, it's the good people win, right? So what it's looking at is share of voice. How much are you being talked about versus your competitors? And also sentiment, right? Are they talking poorly about you? Are they talking neutrally or positive? Right. So, to be reviews. Well, nobody goes to the reviews and looks at all those, but guess what? AI is. And so it's interesting that we'll talk about you, but it'll also tell people the good, the bad, and the ugly. Right. So that's great. You've got to put the content out there and almost intentionally seed it. So podcast interviews are a great way to do that, right? It's 30 to 45 minutes of pretty much positive content. But even the negative things out there are great, right? I remember when we first started getting referred on podcasts or on ChatGPT, I said, what are the negative things about Interview Valet? And they came back and they're like, well, it doesn't work for very localized businesses. It doesn't work for fiction authors. It doesn't work when there's a transaction. It's more for relationship sales. And I'm like, I love those negatives because those are all true, right? Anybody that says this works for everyone is either lying to themselves or lying to you. And it's like, yeah, let's talk about the limitations of podcast interview marketing. And that's what the engines and AI was doing.
I love that. And I don't know if people think about that is too, you can just ask chat, you know about me. Or, you know a little bit about my business. What are the problems that people would have or the challenges that they could come up with? Because it does kind of in a new direction to make sure that you're putting out the information to address those things.
Yeah, and amazing. We're AI first company, right? The phrases that I use, I'm the oldest person in company, and I'll point out that I am Generation X by 1 year, right? But when we start doing stuff the old way, first thing I always say is, okay, boomer, how can we do this better? And some of the things are after we work with the client for, we'll go back and take all their interviews, put it through a custom GPT we've built and say, okay, what are the common themes that we've talked about? What are the common questions? What areas could we go into now? And so really using it as a tool to get better and to learn, because often we've got that frequency bias or whatever closest to us, right? Whatever came up last week is what I'm most in. Whereas if we start taking it but I look at all the interviews over the last year, right? You can say, here's the themes and here's where we go from here.
Yeah, I love that. You talked about black hat and white hat. We need an AI hat, right?
Well, I think we've got it, right? So if tries outsmart AI, I think AI is going to punish them for it, and they should, right? Marketers at times can mess up everything. And I believe that the good people should rise up. And I think we're seeing this today. There's the difference between influencers and practitioners, right? The influencers are the beautiful people that everybody knows about on Facebook. And most of them have, experience with it. and don't have a whole lot of content, right? We know who they are, but we don't trust them because they've always got something new. Now we've got these humble heroes, right? The practitioners that are introverts, right? But they'll have great conversations. And I think those conversations is what AI is valuing. It's also what people are valuing. The days where the barker, right, that loud, extroverted person is getting all the business. They still might get all of the attention on social media, but they're not getting the business, right? People are going to those practitioners, the humble heroes. And when they hear about them, it's like, oh yeah, I'll work with that person.
I love your terms, the carnival barker and the humble heroes. But you're right. These are the people who truly believe in what they're doing and they truly want to get out there and help people. And now we're actually hearing from them because businesses hopefully are helping them feel like they can get out there and talk about it and they're getting good feedback. So it's great. I love all these things happening to our business.
Yeah, and when you're trying to get to a six-figure business, right? So many people will say, well, you've got to do this, you've got to do that, you've got to do all of these things in order to, hit six figures, right? And it's all this activity. Well, chances are you can pick one that works really well for you and focus on that, get good at that. And you can build up that base of six figures, right? You don't have to do everything. I learned so much from our clients, and one of them talked to me about the sales cylinder. And I'm like, what's a sales cylinder? And he's like, well, everybody's talking about this sales funnel, right? Where I get 1,000 leads and it comes through and I get one client out of it. He's like, that's not efficient for them or for me. He's like, give me the sales cylinder, right? Bring me 5 people that are great. Let me talk with them and I'll get 4 clients out of it. Boom. That seems a whole lot more doable than, fortune and Facebook ads and funnels and everything like that. I believe that we're one conversation away, not one funnel away.
Yeah, you reminded me of when we doing video when my business partner was running her own business and she worked for a mortgage company and she kept having to ask people the same things over and over, those documents, bring in the last page, even though it's empty. So, and so we started doing short videos with her and her was fantastic. Things were starting to roll, but also she was having people come into her office and she said, they talked to me like they knew who I was. And she said, I'm racking my brain. Where did I meet them? How do I know this person? And she had never met them. They just watched her videos and they felt like they knew her because she was very natural and very conversational. And I feel like a lot more of that's happening.
Yeah. And interesting because even the idea of a call or discovery call changes because if they've heard you, if they've seen you, they've already self-identified. They know more about you than you know about them. It's more of a qualification call, right? They know all about you. You just have to see, are they a good fit? Can I get them value out of this? And it works well for everyone, right? It's nobody likes cold emails or cold calls, and to talk with someone live that you feel like you already know. If you're a podcaster or anything like that, that's a warm, fun conversation.
Yeah. Absolutely. This has been awesome. I'm so glad that you joined me today, Tom. Thank you so much. You've been a ton of information and it's been fun and you've thrown out all these great terms that I'm going to have to use now, like humble heroes. So it's been such a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining me. Oh, I got to ask you one last thing. If want to reach out to you, what is the best way for them to do that?
Well, Jeanne, thank you for asking. And here's the best practice. 10 years, we've tested it. Always give people one place to go, give them 3 ways that they can get value, and then remind them of the one place to go, right? So if you go back to interviewvalet.com/6, everything Jeanne and I talk about will be there. There's an assessment. Will podcast interview marketing work for me? I wrote a book, Podcast Guest Profits, How to Grow Your Business with the Targeted Interview Strategy. You can buy it on Amazon, or if you go there, I'll send you a free copy. Right. And then finally, if you want to connect with me, right, I'll put all my social media and my calendar schedule and link there. And all of that's back at interviewvalet.com/6. valet.com/6, SIX.
Perfect. Oh, that's great. You're giving us even more value. So, Tom, thank you again for joining me today. I'm excited for everyone to see this episode.
Thank you, Jeanne.
Thanks for listening to the Six Figure Business Mastery Podcast. If you enjoyed listening to this episode and you are ready to leverage video marketing on all online platforms, or maybe even start your own video podcast, then you need to check out the Done For You and Done With You program at themarketingvaadvantage.com and take your business to the next level.